the main planet of the Empire, known as Motherworld, was ruled by thousands of kings until all its resources were exhausted. Then, the armies set off into space, conquering new planets in their path. However, traitors killed the king and queen, leading some of the conquered planets to contemplate a revolution. Senator Belisarius seized the opportunity and took power. To find and crush the rebels, he sent punitive squads under the command of the android Admiral Atticus Noble. Meanwhile, on the distant planet of Velt, farmer Gunnar arrives at the field where Cora is working. It's evening, and the villagers have gathered for dinner in honor of a hunter who managed to catch a snow moose. The girl finishes her work and joins the communal table. People around are merry, and the hunter glances at the girl, hoping she will reciprocate his feelings. Cora also likes Gunnar, but the beauty behaves neutrally. In the evening, she returns to the house she shares with an elderly farmer who once found her among the wreckage of a spaceship and now considers her his daughter. The old man wants her to marry, have children, and become a full member of the community. But Cora feels she doesn't deserve such happiness because she is a child of war. The next day, Cora sees a huge spaceship in the sky above the village and rushes to warn the inhabitants. The villagers fear the Imperials, as one of them, Gunnar, has been selling surplus crops to the rebels. If the military finds out, it will spell trouble, but the village leader decides to meet the uninvited guests and see what they want. Admiral Atticus and his men land, demanding to buy grain to replenish their food supplies while hunting a group of rebels. The man tries to deceive the admiral, saying they have no extra grain, and Atticus kills him in front of the whole village. He then orders Gunnar to collect all the harvest for him within 9 weeks. Atticus leaves, leaving a dozen of his soldiers in the village. The sergeant starts by ordering the eviction of the occupants from the largest stone house. The soldiers begin unpacking their luggage. It turns out that one of the crates contains the last representative of the mechanical knight race of the slain king, the robot Jimmy. Private Eris greets him and asks for help with moving the cargo. Meanwhile, one of the soldiers notices a village girl, young Sam, but limits himself to a compliment, especially since there is a more interesting object, as Jimmy is a rarity. After the king's murder, the Iron Knights no longer fight. To prove this, a soldier opens fire on the robot, showing how it silently accepts undeserved punishment. Aris defends the robot and almost becomes a victim himself, but the sergeant stops this and sends robot Jimmy to the river to wash off the dirt. There, Sam finds him. She sympathizes with the robot and sits next to him. The king had a daughter, Princess Isa, who had a rare gift of healing and resurrection. The king's subjects hoped she would usher in a new era of mercy in the universe, but, alas, the girl was killed along with her family during her coronation. That's when the Iron Knights refused to fight. Sam assures him that it is he who still possesses compassion and gives him a wreath of flowers. Meanwhile, the villagers decide what to do next. Many blame Gunnar, and he, in his defense, reminds them that they are farmers. It's not in the soldiers' interest to kill them, as then no one will be able to feed them. After hearing this conversation, Cora rushes home and starts packing to leave. Her adoptive father tries to stop her, saying they can still fight, but the girl knows the Empire's ways too well. The soldiers grab Sam and drag her to the communal house, intending to have fun with the girl. Only young soldier Aris stands up for her, for which he is immediately punished by his comrades. Seeing this, Cora rushes into the house. She asks the soldiers to stop, but seeing her, they decide that tonight they will have 2 beauties. Realizing that she can't resolve the issue peacefully, Cora engages in combat, killing all the soldiers except Eris, who sides with her. But the sergeant manages to grab Sam and demands Cora to lay down her weapons when Jimmy enters. The robot assesses the situation, picks up a weapon, and shoots the sergeant, freeing the girl. The arriving villagers understand that they now have only one option: to fight against the Empire. The next day, Cora sets out to find General Titus, who has raised his forces against the king's killers. She hopes for his help and asks Gunnar to show her the man through whom he sold grain to the rebels. The farmer goes with her. During the night, they stop to rest, and Cora tells Gunnar that once Motherworld soldiers landed on her planet and killed its inhabitants. Belisarius himself commanded the executioners and for some reason spared 9-year-old Cora, taking her on his ship, where the girl grew up and became a warrior of Motherworld's best troops. The senator considered her his daughter and was proud of her military successes. Therefore, she knows exactly what awaits the inhabitants of the planet Velt if they do not resist. Soon, the pair reaches a port city. They decide to rest in a bar, but one of the visitors notices Gunnar and offers to buy him from Cora. The woman refuses, which displeases the brute. He pulls out a knife but is forced to retreat after Cora explains her refusal using force. After that, the woman asks those present for information about General Titus. Only one alien being responds, communicating with the outside world through a symbiosis with a captured human. The alien tells that General Titus now earns his living fighting in the gladiatorial arena of Pollux, but the alien advises Cora to be cautious, as Titus is being hunted and is therefore quite aggressive. At that moment, the man offended by Cora enters the bar, accompanied by 2 accomplices. Now, he is confident in his victory, and when Cora gives them a last chance to leave, he orders them to kill her. A shootout begins, during which Cora notices an outsider, a man who watches the fight with interest. And when she is in danger, he kills her enemy. Afterwards, Kai offers his ship at her service, as he too is heading to Pollux. Cora announces her goal, to find soldiers to fight the Empire, but he is not deterred by this. Soon, the ship takes off, but then Kai admits that they first need to stop at the small planet frontier, as he has business there. He finds out that Gunnar has never left the planet before and shows him the wonders of space piloting. Admiral Atticus charges his body with the energy of Mother World and learns that a rebel agent has been captured, holding information about the resistance forces. Meanwhile, Kai's ship lands on Frontier. The owner of the local ranch keeps a boy named Tarek chained, whom Kai wanted to offer to Cora's team. The owner sets a condition for release. Tarek must tame a raging griffin in the pen. Looking at the creature, Tarek agrees. He orders the griffin to be released and begins to speak to it almost exactly like King Alexander the Great with his horse Bucephalus. Unexpectedly, the griffin listens to his words, allowing the man to jump on its back. The griffin takes flight. Several times Tarek comes close to death but manages to hold on. Once the griffin throws him off, but he jumps back on its back, after which the proud creature calms down and carries the boy back to the ranch. Cora is thrilled with his skill and happy to have such an ally. The owner has to keep his word and release Tarak. The ship flies to the planet of cobalt mines, Dagos, where the talented fencer Nemesis lives. But at that moment, she learns that a child of one of the workers has been captured by a spider-like representative of the planet's nearly exterminated indigenous population. Her children were killed, and now she is taking revenge on humans. Nemesis tries to persuade her to release the child, and when she realizes that this will not work, she engages in battle. Cora and her team watch the virtuoso fencer with admiration. A moment comes when the Spider-Woman releases the child. Gunnar rushes to the girl and takes her away despite the danger. Nemesis kills the creature, but does not take pride in the victory, as humans are to blame for everything. She joins Cora's team, and the ship sets course for the planet Pollux. Cora praises Gunnar for his deed and confesses that she was Princess Isa's bodyguard and saw how she revived birds. And now, she feels guilty for the death of the special girl on whom so many hopes were pinned. Soon the ship lands on the planet Pollux, and the team heads to the gladiatorial arena, where Cora recognizes the legendary General Titus as a drunken tramp. The men take him to a bathhouse, where the general is cleaned and revived. He doesn't want to remember his past, as he doomed his soldiers. Cora offers him a chance for revenge. This reminds the man of who he is. Meanwhile, the captured rebel agent is brought to Admiral Atticus, who confesses that the resistance forces are based on the planet Sharan, under King Levitica. Atticus kills the man and orders a flight to Sharan. At the same time, Kai's ship lands on Sharan, where they are greeted by King Levitica himself. Cora thanks him for his hospitality and help. Soon, rebel ships commanded by siblings Darayan and Devra arrive. Devra is hostile, realizing the weakness of her people against Admiral Atticus's ship. But learning about what happened on Velt, the rebels accept Cora's proposal. After this, Kai agrees to fight alongside her, but first, he needs to deliver cargo to a trading post. Kai takes the group to the trading post and asks for help unloading the crates. The team unloads them, but suddenly the crates open and turn into devices for immobilizing people. All team members are trapped except Gunnar. It turns out that Kai is a bounty hunter and initially intended to betray them for a reward. He is ecstatic about the catch, as each of them is worth their weight in gold. But Korra herself outweighs all, as the entire universe is searching for her. Atticus's ship docks at the base, and the Admiral hurries to the pier. Seeing who Kai has prepared for him, he walks past the prisoners and stops near Gunnar, whom he did not expect to see in the team. Kai hands a device, a syringe, to the farmer, which injects a sedative into the detainee's head and orders him to start with Korra. Gunnar approaches her with the syringe, apologizes to the girl, and, swiftly removing her collar, plunges the syringe into Kai's head. Korra disarms the nearby soldier and opens fire. As she engages in the shootout, Gunnar frees the others, and they join the fight. Suddenly, Darien sees Admiral Atticus's flagship opening fire on the Resistance ships. Realizing his people are about to perish, the Resistance leader rushes to the pier and reaches the ship's cockpit. He jumps onto it and, breaking the glass, kills the pilot, but he dies from the pilot's shot. The ship loses control and falls into the abyss, while Atticus remains on a small platform. Korra runs to him and challenges him to a fight. They battle fiercely, but eventually, Korra wins and throws the Admiral down, facing certain death. Time later, the surviving warriors return together to the planet Velt, while Atticus is picked up by Imperial medics and restored in the artificial womb of Motherworld. In this scene, it is revealed that Atticus is an android. He then appears before Emperor Belisarius and reports that he has found Korra. The ruler demands that the Admiral suppress the rebellion and bring his daughter to him so he can execute her himself.